Disclaimer, this podcast discusses mental health. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you're struggling with your mental health, please remember it's okay to ask for help and seek the appropriate help through a qualified healthcare professional.
Welcome back to the podcast where we ask the question, what makes you happy? My name is Jake Pearson, and today we have with us an author and a yoga instructor who teaches their students to integrate visualizations with yoga to maximize the benefits of both of them. We have Dianne Willging from Iowa, USA. Dianne, pleasure to have you on the podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I'm super excited to discuss all things that make you happy. Would you start off, just before we get into what that actually is, what visualizations actually are?
What visualizations actually are, they're images that you bring to your mind, even though, like, let's say it's by a body of water or something, you're not by the body of water, but you bring the picture of the body of water to your mind and maybe some of the details and those kinds of things.
Yeah, so it's like if I was to stand here and think, oh, I want to be at the beach, and then I visualize the sand under my feet, the waves and the seagulls. Is that kind of what it is?
Yes, the sights, the sounds, the feelings that are associated with it.
Lovely. So now that we've got kind of an understanding of what visualizations actually are and a little bit more about how you may help others, what does make you happy, Dianne?
Well, I guess a better question might be, what doesn't make me happy? And when I say that, I don't mean I go around with a big silly grin on my face or anything like that. But when I'm in the right frame of mind, the littlest things can make me happy, whether it's something typical like a sunset or sunrise or my grandchild building a tower, or something less typical like being able to pay to have my car fixed because I don't have to wait for payday or wait till I save up the money like I did in my younger years. So just those little things that, making a traffic light or something, those little things can bring me a lot of joy if I'm in the right frame of mind.
It's very interesting that you mentioned the right frame of mind. I find that when I have had something negative happen and I am just in general feeling a bit more negative or pessimistic, that things that would normally give me a lot of joy, I don't find that happiness in that. So do you find that you have had to work at that to get yourself into the right frame of mind to feel the joy in those little things?
Absolutely. So I feel like I used to be somebody who saw the glass as half empty instead of half full. And one thing that I started to notice was, like, I could be in a great mood and nothing, even things going wrong all day, would bother me. And then other days, everything would go right, and I just find myself being grouchy. So I was kind of like, what is it? What is the difference? And the difference for me was getting myself in the right frame of mind where I declutter my mind and just can enjoy the moment, be in the moment, be fully present. And that's why I like visualizations with yoga, because the breath practice in yoga, the poses or asanas that get your body moving, and then the mental aspects of the visualization, all are tools that get me in the right frame of mind and let me have a day that, even if a lot of things go not as I want them to go, that I still feel happy and joyful.
Beautifully said. And would that tie into some advice you would give to our listeners who may be struggling to find happiness in their lives?
Absolutely. So I would hope that all of your listeners, my advice is to find a way to declutter your mind and to be present in the moment, and whether practice self-care for a moment every day or more than a moment, however long it takes, because it will be worth it in how you feel and the joy that you experience throughout the day.
Just before we tie this episode up, what are some quick things that people can do to practice self-care?
Practice self-care, I mean, just to take a breath in your nose and out your mouth. And if you do that a couple of times, you will immediately feel a little change in your body and in your mind as well. Being in nature, just taking time to do the things that not be plugged into technology all of the time, unless it's your podcast, of course. But take some time to be in the quiet.
Yeah, wonderfully said. And just on that, I don't expect everyone to be plugged into this podcast all the time, because there are plenty of things you can go and do to find your happiness. This should only be a small portion of that. But Dianne, it's been an absolute pleasure to share with you all things that make you happy. We appreciate your time.
Thank you again for allowing me to share this with your listeners.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope it gives you something to think about on your quest to discover what makes you happy. Make sure to check out whatmakesyouhappypodcast.com to connect with today's guest and follow us on all our social media platforms, and to stay up to date at what's happening next at What Makes You Happy. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend, and we'll see you next time.